The NGA is not just about representing America's governors, but it's also about what America's governors represent. In states all across the country, governors are working together in a bipartisan way, showing real leadership and finding solutions to the serious problems that are facing us. So I'm a lifelong small business owner who'd never held elective office before. The only reason I ran for governor was because I was concerned about the small businesses that were being lost in our state and the people that were losing their jobs. It created more jobs, created more businesses, had the best economic turnaround in America. And then we're faced with this coronavirus, this worst economic collapse in my lifetime.
The Chinese government has locked down more Chinese cities.
There is no cure or no vaccine. As these infections continue to rise, panic is also rising.
Russia announced this morning that it's closing the border with China.
In Italy and Germany, the infection rate nearly doubled in a day.
We had just had the first outbreaks in the state of Washington. So at the winter meeting of the NGA, we decided to add a briefing from some of the federal government's top experts. Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Robert Redfield, the head of the CDC, and a number of other top experts. They were talking about what we might be faced with. It gave us a heads up, and it allowed many of the governors to start to prepare. My wife worked with the Korean ambassador to host a reception for all the governors. Little did I know, months later, how important that relationship would become.
In South Korea, another huge surge of infections. The entire population urged to stay home.
All of Italy, a country of 60 million people, is now effectively a red zone.
When we got our first cases in Maryland, immediately declared a state of emergency. On Monday, as chairman of the National Governors Association, I joined Vice President Pence in the White House Situation Room with 52 of America's governors for a teleconference with top federal officials.
Of the 34 states now with confirmed cases of the coronavirus, 8 of them have declared a state of emergency.
There are now more than 118,000 cases in 114 countries. COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
One of the best things about the National Governors Association is that we don't really wear red uniforms or blue uniforms, and there's really not partisanship like you see in Washington. The governors are individual CEOs of their states. We've had 12 calls now with every single governor in America, 8 of which the president and/or vice president was on the call with us.
The only way this has ever been contained, what China did, what Korea did, quarantine or really increase the number of tests.
South Korea had done a pretty good job on testing, and my wife, who was born in South Korea, and I said, hey, what do you think about reaching out to the ambassador?
Hogan says Maryland purchased enough kits from South Korea to provide for 500,000 coronavirus tests. They arrived over the weekend. He and First Lady Yumi Hogan greeted the Korean Air jet that landed at BWI Marshall Airport.
We have not seen a surge in cases in Maryland, and the hospitalizations hit the lowest since this pandemic started.
The real enemy here is the virus. That's the common enemy we're all fighting, and it's going to take the federal, state, and local governments all working together to try to fight this common enemy. There's no question people have been suffering out there as a result of the economic collapse. You've got this twin problem of this terrible health crisis where we've got tens of thousands of people dying, and yet we also have this incredible economic challenge where we got millions of people that are unemployed and small businesses being hurt everywhere. We've got to balance those needs, but really right now the first thing is saving lives and keeping people safe. And I couldn't be more proud of governors all across the country on both sides of the aisle for stepping up and leading. In a crisis like this, it shows what leaders are made of. And if people are just safe and they care about their fellow neighbors and citizens, we can beat this thing. The NGA is not just about representing America's governors, but it's also about what America's governors represent. Our nation's governors on both sides of the aisle, finding solutions to the serious problems that are so fundamental to our way of life. I'm very excited to be turning over the gavel to Governor Andrew Cuomo. He's been terrific to work with. I know he's going to do a great job as chairman of NGA, and I'm looking forward to assisting him in any way I can as the Media Pass chair. Wear a mask. Stay 6 feet apart. Outdoors is safer than indoors. You know, we really can make a huge difference with very simple things.